As Robin mentioned that the AIM, or the Alabama Innovation and Mentoring of Entrepreneur Center, is an I-Core site. Just a brief definition of that is what we do is we train these small startup companies how to do customer development. And, but a key integral part of that development of that company is, of these startup companies, is to get engaged with members of companies from Informax. So to be successful, the companies that are represented here at the Informax meeting, we need them to engage with these startup companies so they can actually begin to take their innovations from their university labs or from other places where they started up their company, incubators and whatnot, into industry. So we just want to try to stress that if you're looking for innovation, we're trying to supply that through this program. So what I'd like to do is introduce some of the companies that have made their pitches, and hopefully you have talked to some of them on the exhibitor's floor. And these are the top 3 contestants in our elevator pitch competition. So I'd like to introduce Carolyn Hansen from Fox 3 Biosciences.
Great. Good morning, everyone. My name is Caroline Hansen. I'm a graduate student at Georgia Tech in the School of Chemistry there. Today, however, I have the pleasure of representing Fox 3 Bioscience, which is a startup out of Georgia Tech and Emory University. We have developed a breakthrough platform nanotechnology for the targeted delivery of drugs. Now, what is targeted drug delivery? Well, when you get a cut on your hand and you go and pour hydrogen peroxide on that cut, you're not pouring it over your whole hand or your whole arm even. You're just pouring it over the cut where it needs it. And that's really what targeted drug delivery is in its most basic form. Of course, the benefits of this method really drastically increase when we're talking about treating more serious diseases with more severe treatments. If you think about if you have a tumor in your brain, if you have brain cancer, and you're administered a drug to kill that tumor, what you really don't want is that drug going all over your body, right? Because that's going to start killing healthy tissues, and that's where we see the side effects of current treatments. Ideally, you'd like that treatment to be localized right at the tumor, and this will help avoid the side effects we're seeing and also increase the efficacy of the drug to kill that tumor. And this is really the future of medicine, targeting drugs to where they need to be. And this is why it's about a $70 billion market today. So our platform technology, which we've just filed a patent on, it's patent pending, allows us to target and deliver biologic drugs and to treat various diseases, so cancer, for instance, various cardiovascular disease, so breaking up those blood clots that have caused a heart attack or a stroke, and even bleeding disorders, genetic bleeding disorders, as well as just severe hemorrhage after a really bad injury. This totals about a $30 billion market in the United States. However, we've decided to focus on a specific bleeding disorder called hemophilia. Hemophilia is a $5.7 billion market in the US, and we've decided to focus on it for 2 reasons, really. The first being, currently, about 20% of the patients that have hemophilia, the drug that they're using now doesn't work for them. And this increases their treatment costs from around $100,000 per year to $800,000 per year. That's a huge increase. From our preliminary evidence, we think we can make this treatment effective for them by focusing the drug where it needs to be. And we think that we'll be able to cut costs of this treatment in half and save the healthcare system about $1.5 billion. The second reason is really more of a practical reason. So we think that because hemophilia is a rare genetic disease, it's shocking. There's only 20,000 people in the US have it, and it's costing us almost $6 billion to treat. We will be able to apply for orphan disease status as well as breakthrough drug status because we'll be making the current treatment actually effective for the subpopulation of patients. These FDA designations will allow us to get FDA approval a little bit quicker, as well as make it somewhat less expensive for us. So right now, we're still in proof of concept. We're just finishing that, and okay. So we're seeking non-dilutive funding to start our preclinical trials. Once we get through those and actually get our patents approved in the US and the EU, we'll be looking for pharmaceutical partners to partner their drug with our technology, and then we'll enter into clinical trials. And then once we get through that, we think that this will allow us to springboard our technology and go back and treat the bigger markets like cancer and cardiovascular disease. With that, I will thank you very much for your attention.
Well, thank you, Caroline. And just as a testimony of how effective this program is, Caroline's a PhD chemist, and her marketing manager allowed her to get up and make the presentation. I remember in industry, as a PhD chemist, I probably would not get that opportunity. So the next second place finisher is Mark Peterman from Ondavia, and he'll talk about his great detection technology. Mark?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to present today. It's a true pleasure to be able to be here to tell you a little bit about what we're doing at Ondavia. My name is Mark Peterman. I'm president and co-founder of the company. At Ondavia, our mission is to make laboratory-grade water testing fast and easy. We founded the company in 2009. We looked out across water space, looked at the media, and noted that frequent chemical spills were being reported. Water system failures were common in the press. And we thought there's got to be a way to speed up how testing is done in those applications. Think Flint, Michigan, for example. What we discovered over time is that not only were those applications important, and our technology can address those issues, but that there was a financial incentive to do fast, high-speed testing in industrial applications. So our focus has shifted to doing process control and quality assurance type applications. If you take a typical oil refinery, they may move 2 barrels of oil per second through the facility. A small percentage change in yield or in efficiency can lead to significant financial incentives. We're working with an oil refinery in the Bay Area in California, and in their wastewater streams, we discovered they were disposing, effectively dumping down the sewer system, $11,000 per day in chemical due to overtreatment and leakage. And without our system, they had no other way to discover that, only because we could test on-site in their facility right in the waste stream could we discover that chemical waste. Ondavia, as I said, incorporated 2009, 7 employees, 11 issued patents, 6 more pending, primarily funded through the SBIR program, $3 million to date, $1 million in private investment. We've used that capital, very capital efficient over 6 years, to take a technology from concept through commercial sales. Razor blade business model, single-use consumable cartridges that are analyte specific. They couple with a portable analytical instrument based on Raman spectroscopy. We have sales development agreements across a variety of sectors, but primarily focused currently on energy, oil and gas, coal-fired power plant wastewater, mining applications. And our technology is based on surface-enhanced Raman spectroscopy, known as SIRS. If anyone knows about SIRS, discovered 40 years ago, is known to be somewhat unreliable. We have actually made that into first ever quantitative analytical uses of SIRS. We've perfected it and made it repeatable. Other reason to look at analytical testing, it's a massive market. $160 billion annually in the US. It's about 1/3 of all spending on R&D in the US per year. If we take the outsourced laboratory testing sub-portion of that market, 43% of their revenue goes towards labor costs. So anything that can take a 4-hour laboratory process that requires a PhD to operate a system and knock it down to being a 5-minute test with a junior technician offers tremendous potential for savings. Our products spread across a variety of potential applications. We could test nearly any compound in any liquid. So current focus is on amines, triazines, and the oil and gas sectors, hydrogen sulfide scavengers, high value, high frequency type testing. But we're also doing things with various oxyanions, for example, and we can also do heavy metals. Things like selenium, selenate, arsenate, those types of things we can even speciate, tell you how much selenate, how much selenite is present, and give you a total selenium count, all in a 5-minute test. Our go-to-market strategy is focused initially on direct sales to key customers in various market segments. These are single analyte test cartridges. Do one thing and do it well is our focus initially. Over time, we'll start to build out rep networks and develop multi-analyte cartridges where we can measure multiple things at one time. We've already begun that process, 2 or 3 tests, and moving into rep networks in international markets. And whether you're looking to do percent level, QA/QC type applications, or part per billion level wastewater analysis, we can do it all in a typical 2-minute test, no PhD required. Wrap up, I have to thank my team. Marwan and Sam have been instrumental in helping drive this technology to market. And special thanks to our funding agencies. They have been essential in the SBR program. Of course, they're U.S. taxpayer-funded programs, so to all the U.S. taxpayers in the audience, thank you.
So Mark, I really do appreciate that technology because I put in the quality assurance system for System 3 gasoline for Texaco, which required them to make sure the blend was properly blended with the right ingredients, and they had to stop and wait for they ran to the lab to get it tested, and I'm sure a lot of production engineers thought I was an idiot. The only thing I didn't understand was about the no PhD required. What's up with that? Okay, so I'd like to introduce our final and the winner of our competition, Sonia Gaspar, and her technology in rubidetection.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Sana Gaspard. I'm the CEO of rubidetection and the primary inventor of its technology. Rubidetection is a medical device company that's addressing a common and expensive healthcare condition known as bed sores by providing caregivers with a low-cost diagnostic tool. Our goal is to end the needless suffering and painful deaths that are caused by a bed sore, which was experienced by the Tassel family. In 2007, Byron Tassel fell from his roof and was rushed to the hospital. While at the hospital, he developed a severe bed sore. I'm not going to show you a picture right now because it's a bit graphic, but I ask you to please envision this in your mind. He essentially had an area on his body where the skin was gone, the underlying tissue was gone, and you could see all the way down to the bone. Byron eventually died from his bed sore, and his family, they went on to successfully sue the hospital in a wrongful death suit for $6.3 million. Byron is just one of the 37 million people every year in the US who are evaluated for a bed sore. Every patient who's admitted to a hospital, a nursing home, or a home care agency is evaluated for a bed sore. 2.3 million will be diagnosed, 60,000 will die. Bed sores are preventable if you can catch them early. However, catching them early is very difficult because the early diagnostic test is manual and unreliable. You can actually do this test on yourself today. If you look at your palm and look for an area that's red and press it, you'll see that it goes from red to white. If you see that response, it means you're healthy. If you don't see that response, that's the first sign that you're developing a bed sore. This test is so unreliable, it's affected by things like the lighting in the room or the color of the patient's skin. The unreliability also means that most bed sores are missed at their earliest stages. Once the bed sore develops, it's expensive and difficult to treat and heal. A single bed sore can add an additional $43,000 to the cost of care. And this is a cost that insurance companies are no longer paying for. This means that bed sores are now an $11 billion healthcare expense for healthcare facilities. This huge financial burden has created a huge market need for low-cost and early and reliable bed sore diagnostic tools. We're addressing this problem with the Rubitect assessment system, We're providing a probe to caregivers that will allow anyone to detect a bed sore at its earliest signs. We're achieving this by applying an analytical chemistry technique known as spectroscopy, which allows someone to monitor changes in the color of the skin. Our system is used with a disposable tip, which prevents the spread of contamination between patients, as well as a software app that allows any user to easily monitor changes in the health of the skin. To date, we've already raised over $350,000. We've used that money to develop an initial prototype and test that in the laboratory on patients. Our initial data has indicated that we can detect the early signs of a bed sore. We're now moving on to validating that data by testing the device on patients. Compared to our competition, we're 75 to 90% cheaper, and we're the only device that can easily be used in any healthcare setting, which means hospitals, long-term care centers, and home care agencies. We believe this competitive advantage will allow us to dominate our $5.2 billion market, and this is just in the US alone. This includes sales of our system, as I mentioned, to hospitals, nursing homes, and home care agencies. We will target these markets by partnering with strategic sales and distribution partners like large wound care companies such as 3M, Smith & Nephew, or Hillrom. Our partnerships with these agencies will allow us to quickly grow the company into $81 million in sales over the next 5 years. Our aim is to get the product on the market in the next 2 years. Our team is capable, committed, and experienced, and we're dedicated to solving this problem. Bed sores kill 60,000 people every year, and this should not happen. They are preventable. With the use of our technology, we will empower any caregiver with the ability to monitor and detect bed sores early, significantly reducing costs for healthcare agencies while saving lives. If you'd like to help us in achieving our goal and you think that you have any connections to partners, investors, or potential healthcare agencies that you'd like to connect us with, please come talk to me. Thank you.